Hello and welcome back. Today we are making vegan syrki. What is a syrki? Actually, the right word for this is syrok, and it means made of syr. Syr is the Russian word for cheese, and syrok is kind of like a little cheese. So I discovered these day retreats when I was in Russia because I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in Russian language and literature. And so, yeah, I was there. I studied in St. Petersburg and I got absolutely in love with this small cottage cheese sausages covered in chocolate. But I'm vegan now, and this is something I've been dying to replicate. And I'm going to use tofu. What I did first is to kind of like squeeze all the water out of the tofu and ending up with this sort of like ground tofu consistency. I got this recipe from Vegan Mikhail's YouTube channel, and is basically his recipe verbatim. But with the plus that I'm speaking English and he's speaking Russian, so if you understand Russian, great. I 100% recommend Mikhail's recipe. Otherwise, this is how I make it, and with my personal spin. So I use a little sugar just because the tofu still has a taste. I have not been able to find a tofu that is completely neutral tasting. And so what I do is that I add the juice of half a lemon and a couple of spoonfuls of cane sugar. Here I use 2 blocks of firm tofu, and I ended up getting about 10-12 syrki. So the singular word for this is syrok, and then is like multiple of those is syrki. And if you know Russian, you know that they have a weird, I wouldn't say weird, but like an interesting grammar system with declensions and a bunch of more things. So you actually end up having syrka, syrkov, and yeah, the list goes on. So I decided to make 2 variations of this. One is a bad idea, the other one is a good idea. Which one is the good and which one is the bad? Well, you can probably already guess by looking at how those strawberries are folding in the tofu dough. The other filling that I wanted to replicate was the one using poppy seeds. So you would normally find syrki, I would say, in most of Eastern Europe and Slavic countries in general, and they're all going to be a little different based on where you get them. I was really in love with syrkis that inside had a small filling of condensed milk and then were coated in dark chocolate. I thought those were the best. But another feeling that I loved was with poppy seeds. And I just like poppy seeds basically anywhere. And this was actually quite easy to make. Like, this part is very easy. You just mash up the tofu, add the sugar, the lemon, the poppy seeds, and then you roll it up in these little sausages, and they are so dainty and cute. And I don't know, they're just like kind of like these little fatty fingers and I don't know, I look at them and I feel sweetness in my chest. I don't know what's going on with me. But here you can already see that the problem are the strawberries. The thing is that like the strawberries, like I cut them in little cubes and they sort of like poke from the dough. They poke out, and I think this is bad for the structural integrity of our little sausage. Because remember, this is held together by tofu and hope, I guess. It just kind of sticks together, but if you like shake one of those sausages, they're gonna like rip into 1,000 pieces. And with the dough that I had left that like couldn't be quite worked into like a neat sausage like thingy, I just made chocolate truffles, coated them in cacao powder, and that was it. Honestly, they were pretty good. So some kind of energy balls, I would say. The next step, and this is like the technique that I decided to use here because not doing this had not worked the other times that I tried this recipe. I just skewer them up. This is like the easiest thing to do because I want the chocolate glaze to stick to my little tofu sausages very well, and to do that it's best to freeze them. And I think like the skewers make it so much easier to then dip our syrki to be in the chocolate. And so they go into the freezer for like 4 to 6 hours. I left them for an entire day, hence the change of outfit. You may see that I am wearing extremely frumpy floral pants and my Daria t-shirt, because the Daria t-shirt is a necessity. Something I want to mention here, when I am melting the chocolate, I add some cocoa butter. Why? Because it makes the chocolate more liquidier, smoother, runnier. It thins out the chocolate without compromising its structure. If you add coconut oil, it will not be the same. Your chocolate will become very thin and it won't snap. But cacao butter has the same structure as the rest of the chocolate. So you can see how handy it is to use those little skewers to dip the syrkis. The only thing that I could improve in this, I could improve several things, but a thing that I could improve for sure would be to use a smaller, taller container for the chocolate so that they get evenly coated more easily. But I don't have such a thing, and yeah, everyone needs to make their kitchen work, depending on how they live, what they like to eat and how much they like to use their kitchen. I like to use it a lot, but I don't like to buy stuff that I'm going to use once or twice. I was so excited to make these because they just look so good, so chocolatey, and you know, I didn't add as much cocoa butter as I could have, so the coating came out very thick. And isn't it one of the best pleasures of life to bite into a thick, snappy chocolate coat? I mean, for me, that is like a pleasure unmatched. And here I have to make yet another disclaimer about using strawberries in this. So, what is the problem of freezing fruit? There is no problem, but the frosting. Because the thing is, they go into the fridge to cool so the chocolate can set. I take off the skewer and then I wrap them in some foil and I put them in the fridge to rest. I keep them there. They hold up nicely for like a week. Most of them were gone in 3 days anyway. But the problem with the strawberry ones was that the strawberries defrosted and they leaked out a bunch of liquid. And another problem with that would be that if you cannot tell them apart because you wrap them, all of them, in the same identical foil, you are not going to be able to tell which one is the poppy seed and which one is the strawberry. And so the strawberry would sit there for like 2-3 days. Fine. When it sits there for 5-7 days, it starts to smell like alcohol. Just not a good idea. Well, assuming that you are only going to make the poppy seed ones, that would be that would be the best idea. I suggest you do this. You can also make your cute little cardboard box. They are so cute. I even gave them my own name brand. They are called Syrki, but with the Latin alphabet letter V for Veronica. And so, yeah, I mean, if you make this, just drop a comment down below and let me know how you like them. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you soon. Bye!